Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Match preview time. Happy Friday, everyone. Saturday, 5:30 kickoff at the City Ground tomorrow on TV. How will we get on? Wait for it at the end of the video for my score prediction. Make sure you drop yours in the comments below and do subscribe while you're here. Thank you very much. So let's just dive into it. No messing around here, right? Friday afternoon, let's get going. Press conference this morning from Eddie Howe. Lots to digest there. And the main talking point for me that I want to touch on and that everyone's been talking about all week, to be fair, is the big Dan Burn debate. We talked about it on the podcast. I'm not going to go into it again. If you want to hear our thoughts on that, you can watch the podcast back on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to them or watch them. This one we're going to talk about Tino. Is it time for Tino? Because Eddie Howe was questioned about Tino Livramento, and he said he's Tino's biggest fan. He said there's no bigger fan out there for Livramento than Eddie Howe. I bet you Tino disagrees with that, since he's warming up the bench more than playing at left back or right back. But this is what Eddie Howe had to say on Tino. Let's put the specs on, because I say it's terrible. He's an outstanding player, and that's why I fought so hard to sign him. A real talent, athletically very good, his best years are ahead of him. I'm the biggest fan of Tino that there can be. Must be starting tomorrow then, mustn't he, eh? Or not? Big fan, love him. Tried so hard to sign him, which is interesting. It sounds like he really had to persuade people at the club there to invest that, near £40 million in Livramento from Southampton in the summer. And they must be looking on, and other people must be thinking, well, why is he not getting picked then, Eddie? Why are we not playing him? If you want to sign him so much, and you're targeting him, and you're bigging him up, and you're his massive fan, it's weird. The thing is for me this week, right, it's not been the criticism so much of Dan Burn. Yes, he was at fault for the goal. Yes, he's struggling and he's chasing. That's the key though, he's chasing. There's moments for Dan Burn to play. I'm a big Dan Burn fan. The biggest out there you'll ever find. Not really. But, I am a huge fan. He's been amazing since we signed him. I love the whole boyhood club connection. Amazing moments for him, playing in the cup final, scoring against PSG. And he scored against Fulham just a couple of weeks ago. But there's games where you've got to be managing him. There's games where it's unacceptable, really, that he's getting picked ahead of Tino Livramento. I'm a big Tino fan. I said in the summer, what a signing that is, what a talent he is. When other people were saying, I don't know about that much money on him. It may have helped that I obviously did a degree down in Southampton, so I went to a few games of the lads from uni, seen him in the flesh, knew how highly they thought of him, and just knew him from Chelsea and England levels, that he is unreal. And then we've seen it this season where he's been at his preferred right back, or more so the left back when he's came in, and he's been absolutely class. So it's like, game management is key here. I'm not really criticising Dan Burn. I don't expect him to be keeping up with the fastest wingers in the Premier League when he's 31 and 7'7". Do you know what I mean? 8'9", big show settings, WWE. I don't. But what I do expect is that it'd be like, oh, he's fast today. I tell you what we'll do. We'll play our fast, young fullback as well. That makes sense to me. Play our young, fast fullback to match their young, fast winger. Great. And who am I to, Eddie Howe knows obviously more than me, knows more than us. He's a fantastic coach, but it's just glaringly obvious that you think, get him off. Last week it was get him off earlier. Everyone at half-time, before half-time, get him off. The fans chanting for Tino. Get Dan Burn off, he's having a mare. And that's fine. In a sense, it's fine. It's a game management. It's play Burn when it suits and play Tino when it suits. Tino's obviously going to have a bright future. He's going to be the main fullback for years to come. But in games like that, you've got to be playing Tino. So the question arose there then, I think it was from Chris Watt from The Athletic, where he was saying, are you willing to change system? Could you be changing something? Because after the Luton game, Eddie Howe said it was difficult to analyse, and there was parts that struggled in midfield, even though he did see, Miley dropped into the 6 later on in the game against Luton, did very well. Bruno with a couple of assists, well, one assist for Trippier, then the one where Murphy should have finished, should have been another assist. Some nice balls into the box there. But he says, the midfield, it's obviously tiring, it's the same 3 every week. Can we freshen things up there with personnel? Well, no, because we're getting injured news soon, but maybe a change of system then. And Eddie Howe teased that today. He teased it in the press conference. He said, you have to keep your eyes open and see what happens, but it could be tomorrow. He says, we may change system tomorrow, we may change how things work, we may change how we're set up. Very interesting stuff, that, because he's very assured in that 4-3-3, isn't he? He loves it, he sticks by it, swears by it. And it works. Well, it worked last season. Maybe now and again, it could be done with switching things up, and that could be tomorrow. So what you could see, could you see a back five where the fullbacks are progressing furthermore? Could Tino be your left wing back, Trippier be your right wing back, or vice versa? Because let's face it, Trippier has done that many a times for England, that left wing back. So could you do that? A back three, the two fullbacks moving forward? Could you change things up there where you maybe go a 4-2-3-1 and have, since we've got loads of wingers fit and no strikers, because you do that. There's interesting things there. So will Eddie Howe change the system? He's teased it, but is he just winding him up? Maybe, because let us say in these press conferences, what Howe says is, you can't believe it, can you? Let's be honest. He said it before on transfers, he said it before on fitness. So about his fitness, obviously we know that Isak is still out. He's going to be still missing, so he's not ready. Joe Willock hasn't got involved with the squad yet, so he's still a while off. He was asked, would he be fit this February? He said, I'm not sure, we hope so. So again, that's a mad one, because I'm feeling like Joe Willock's been minutes away from playing since bloody November, since October, since Halloween. And bonfire night, it's been like, oh, Willock's come back soon, can't wait for him. And then, you know what I mean, months later, it'll be the end of the season, we'll be lucky to see him in bloody April, May. My God, what a nightmare that is. But it's an Achilles injury, so it's a bit difficult. So how much we could do with Willock back right now would be massive, to be fair. If we could slot him into that tiring midfield, would be perfect. But not yet. But the good news, if you like, obviously the bad news is he's still missing for tomorrow is Anthony Gordon. And the bad news is that he hasn't trained at all this week. So that's not great, obviously. But the good news is it's not as feared as we first thought. So when he went off with that moon boot and the crutches and he's walking down the Metro Stand and the Red Mall with his crutches, limping all hour, getting selfies, it's not so bad. So hopefully they'll be back for Bournemouth next week, or at least in that match day squad. But those are the injuries on top of all the other ones that we've already got. So it's likely to be that front three of Wilson, who Eddie Howe said he should be fit to start, which is very good news. Let's hope, again, with Wilson, he's not burning out. We seem to do it, don't we? You force him back, plays 4 games out for 4 weeks. I guess there's no other option, though, especially now our third choice striker, do it with 3 actually, third choice striker that Eddie Howe has called Anthony Gordon all season, isn't available to slot in either. So Wilson's going to have to try and play the 90, or we're going to have to bring on someone for a false 9 or something. It looks like Harvey Barnes isn't going to be fit enough to start this one either. He thinks he's going to ease him in, which is wise. I would not want to see him from the off, because I think that could be detrimental to his full comeback. So it's looking like the old Murphy, Miggy and Wilson. So it's decent enough to come up against the Forest side. So let's look into the opposition this weekend. And Forest did actually play a lot of minutes just a few days ago. During the week there, they played their 4th round replay in the FA Cup, 1-1 at home to Bristol City, but they did win 5-3 on penalties, and it was a decent enough side that they put out, with Gibbs White and Alanga both starting, which I would class as their danger men. You know, we've seen Gibbs White run the show for me at St James's Park. I think that's why we started scouting him even more. I think that's why we really looked at him in January and we'll put off the price tag. But Gibbs White was brilliant that day. He's having a very good season. Alanga, very quick, pacey, the ex-Man U player. And then up top, it was actually Origi who was still going, Divock Origi. Thankfully, and I never thought I would be saying thankfully about Chris Wood missing a game of football. Honestly. I would have normally been like, yes, get in, they've got Chris Wood up top, that's a nice clean sheet for Dubravka. No, not after, I'll never, can't slander Chris Wood again. Hat-trick hero, Woodnaldo, Chris Woodnaldo. After that performance at the Toon on Boxing Day, a hat-trick he scored against us. I can't get out. Never mind all the injuries this season in the Champions League. That is the strangest thing that I've seen this year, by miles. The longest time in football, honestly, weird as hell that. Chris Wood, the best he's ever looked, the delicate little finishes. I've never seen that in my life. Honestly, a man possessed. What on earth was going on there? He scored 3 goals against us in one game there. He scored 1 goal at St James's Park in 20-odd appearances for us. He scored 3 in about 20 minutes. My God. So he's injured this weekend. We can take some positives from that. Obviously, I hope his injury is not serious, but I'm glad that he's missing, because he had our life on Boxing Day. Now then, another ex-Magpie that is in line to make a Premier League start. I don't think it's his debut, I think he may have played last week, was that late January transfer window move for Matt Sells. Remember him? Good old Sells. Not good old, crap old. He was awful at us, so watch him have an amazing clean sheet on Saturday night. He'll be unreal. Do you know what I mean? He'll come in looking like Buffon, Gianluigi, prime Buffon. He'll be there and have an absolute blinder. I can just call it now, I can see it now. Sells. Do you know what I mean? He'll have a point to prove. Rafa signed him for, I think it was $6.5 million a few years ago. Awful. Stinking. One of the worst keepers I've ever seen. Really, really crap. He's obviously went abroad again, did all right. They signed him from Strasbourg. I mean, anyone's got to be better than that Matt Turner. He's dreadful. I'm gutted that he's not going to be playing on Saturday night, because I've seen him in recent games against Man U and Arsenal, and he's just giving them their goals, assisting them. So I'm gutted if he doesn't play and if Sellers does come in, because that Turner is a real weak link for them. But Listen, them playing just a couple of days ago and playing 120 minutes, playing extra time and then penalties, that's got to work in our favour. It really does. So we should be fresher. We've had another week, haven't we, since the Luton game. So a full week of training, full week on the pitch there, which Eddie Howe has said the team has missed so much with European football this year. So there's no excuses for me. Like, we've got to be going into this game as favourites. Forest are, what, 16th in the league? Got to be winning these games. If we want to get our season back on track, we have to be winning these games. It's not going to be easy. City ground, difficult atmosphere, under the lights. They'll be well up for it as well. They are fighting for the lives. Not yet, I don't say, like I said in the podcast. If you're playing a relegation threatened side in April, May, it makes it a bit tougher. We're in February now. Sorry, like, but if we've got the aspirations to get back up there, get a bit more momentum in the league, then it has to be a win. And it has to be a win. I'm not asked how it happens, but 3 points we've got to move on with. Because Bournemouth at home next week isn't an easy game either. It should be on paper. We should beat them. Same thing we said for Luton Town. And I think Bournemouth are a very good side now. They're playing good football. That manager just came in. He took a bit of time to settle, but he's doing well now, Areola. But we'll focus on that next week, obviously. But Forest, let's get the job done, boys. Let's go there, get the win. Just like last year. Last year was hard there. Anderson had a goal ruled out. Shocking. Isak penalty, 2-1 win. Away end going crazy. That's what we want to see tomorrow night, yet again. Join me after full time, probably around, 7:30, 20 minutes after or so, for the full-time match reaction live on the channel, so you can get involved in the chat and everything as well. Drop your score predictions in the comments below, people. Subscribe to Magpie Channel TV and enjoy yourself.